Hi, I'm Don, and this is the Hobbyist Geek. Welcome back, yo! That's right, today we have another Optimus Prime kit. This is pack 3. I'm hoping we get to finish off his left arm, but I don't know. So why don't we just go ahead and open this thing up and see what comes inside. Okay, let's go ahead and open this puppy up here. Go. And what do we have? Sorry, my scissors just fell on the floor. Oh, yes. I can tell already from here we've got a fist, so this is definitely looking like we're going to be finishing off the left arm. So we've got a lot of forearm pieces here. I'm guessing some hinges, probably wrist, and what's left on the elbow. No idea what that is. Maybe screw covers? Probably. Lots of screws. This wonderful blue. Looks like we got a lot of plastic stuff on sprues here. And, oh, yep, given the weight, we got a lot of metal in this one. And you can definitely tell that's where the forearm will be, or the front of the forearm with a little arrow and everything. All right, this is looking awesome. All right, I can't wait to get started on this. No instructions once again. So let me go ahead and pull those up. We'll get some pieces out and start building. Okay, so we're going to kick things off here with step 1. Excuse me. We have 3 parts from the sprue 38 here. That's these 3, and 1 more from sprue 39. That would be that one. And we have 4 of these little rubber washers that are called part 47, as well as 2 PB 2x5 screws. I have a feeling we're going to be doing this a lot. This is building the infrastructure for the thumb, and I have a feeling we're going to have to do it, 4 more times to get all 5 fingers. Short version is that we take this rubber washer using this part here. Now I've organized them in the way they're supposed to go. And we put this thing on here, make sure we push it all the way down. Same here. All right. And then this will go on here. And this will go on here. It's all just sliding in, friction held at the moment. And then we followed up. It's hard to see, I don't know if you can tell, but there is a slight indentation. And that is where the rubber washer will go. You need to push that thing in there as good as you can. There's a very, very, very slight indentation. Also important is the instructions actually say do not cut these from the sprue using a tool like this because they want to preserve the paint job. However, I've discovered that by breaking them off, it still leaves too much of a little nub here, and I end up having to cut it anyway. So, a little bit of a problem there. When you're putting this side on, you notice that the holes are a little flush on this side. I don't know if it's focusing properly here. And indented here, make sure the indentation is up. And it should actually slide in. There you go. And then a couple of screws at each joint to hold it in place. And there you go. And even better, these joints, you can actually feel the friction in them. So this actually is working out quite nicely as far as that is concerned. You can also see right there, the little hole that lines up. That'll be for a cover plate that'll go on a little bit later. Make sure that when you screw these in, they are flush, so that the cover plate will fit over it without an issue. On to step 2. Okay, step 2 is ridiculously short. You take this little piece here from the part 39 sprue, and you've got 3 of these little gaskets here, and they're just going to slide on to the 3 ends. Now these little pieces here are part 45, however, they're not labeled in the instruction inventory. I had to find them on my own, and these are the only things that really match, and they are very hard to see. They were in the same cubby as the screws, so keep an eye out for them. Alright, we're going to combine steps 3, 4, and 5 here to make things a little easier. Step 3 is you take this part, which is part 28, and you take this part that we've assembled and you kind of just slide it in there. There's a couple of rocker slots in there, should fit right in. If you push it all the way in on both sides, it is a tight fit though. There we go. Just like that. Okay. And that is step 3. Step 4. While holding it in this orientation, you want to take the last piece from the part 39 sprue. That's this one. And you want to just kind of slide it in. Just like so. So that it all matches up nice and neat. And then step 5 is taking the thumb that we built, we slide it in here. Everything should line up nice and neat, just like it does. And 2 more of the 2x5, I believe. Yes, the 2x5 screws will go in here. And there you go, look at that. Got rotation here, you got some rotation here, and of course the other joints in the thumb rotate as well. So man, this finger is awesome. This is supremely better than the Terminator model. I can't wait to see how the whole hand functions. Alright, step 6 here is actually where we finish off the thumb. We get sprue 33, and that's got these 3 parts. Now these ones I was able to break off without having too much of an issue as far as the little nubs, and these are the ones that I would be most concerned with anyway as far as ruining the paint job is concerned. So go ahead and break these off if you can. Not much of an issue. Now if you look inside this one, you can see there's 2 little tiny tabs, and those are supposed to go, as I recall, right here. So the center tab there is actually much bigger than the others, and it just slides in like that. And then you've got the second part here that's got that little round post. That'll go into that hole. I'm just doing some test fitting here. And this one's got 2 more tabs for these 2 slots right there. So that is basically what the end result will look like. We do have to put some glue into those tabs and on that post to hold it in place. So let me go ahead and do that, and when the glue dries, I will be right back. And here we are, finished product. I think the glue is pretty dry. I haven't given it a whole lot of time, but it does seem to look quite nice. Moves just fine. So I'm gonna go with yeah for now, but we'll set it to the side and let it dry some more while we work on the rest. Okay, so we have, after finishing the thumb, we have moved on to the assembling the fingers stage of this. And I have gotten out all of the parts for steps 1 through 7, which is actually the entire assemble the fingers stage. And they are all going to assemble precisely the same way the thumb did. So I'm not gonna make you guys watch me go through this and then glue and all that other stuff. We'll just jump right to it. But to give you a list of the parts, we're going to be using all of the parts on sprues 40, 41, and 44, as well as all of the remaining rubber washers here from part 47. This finger here is going to be slightly shorter based on the size of the pieces here. And they all come from the sprues I just mentioned. The remaining 3 fingers are all identical. They come from sprues 36, 37, and the rest of 44. We are also using all of the parts from sprue 35, and 34 is for the shorter finger here. And we just put them all together in exactly the same way we did the thumb, and we're left with 4 other fingers. So let me go ahead and finish that, and we'll transition over into assembling the left hand. And here we have all 4 fingers fully assembled. They all have exactly the same functionality as the thumb. They went together the same way. Things are definitely looking good. This one is just a tiny bit smaller. I'm guessing that's the pinky. And with this complete, we can move on to assembling the hand. Step 1 of assembling the hand, we've got part 26 and part 14 right here. And 14 is going to go in just like so. There is a little bit of a protrusion over here. That's going to fit into that hole right there, just like that. Nice and neat. And in these two, we're going to do 2x5 screws. All right. And with everything in place, we can start actually putting the fingers in. We start with the little finger. When in this orientation, it's going to go in the top. Make sure that the upper side of the finger is facing up here, and there's a little post right there. It's going to go in that hole, just like that. And you repeat for the next 3 fingers. And booyah! Step 1 is complete. All right, for this next bit here, we're going to need parts 30 and 31. They are slightly different, so make sure that you have them oriented appropriately. We're going to use 2x6 screws to hold those in place. I forgot to mention, these pieces here are here to hold the other sides, the upper sides of the fingers in place, and then we're going to screw it down so that the fingers are permanently attached. And that's what it'll look like once they are in place appropriately. The fingers still have a little bit of room to maneuver. And now they are in place, so they're not coming out at all. Beautiful. Moving on to the second part of step, what is this, 2? Yeah, step 2 here. We're going to be taking the thumb, and we're going to line up these 2 posts with these 2 holes over here. Yeah, there's a couple of little posts here, so it'll slide in and lock in place. It is keyed, you're not going anywhere. Looks good. goes. Nice and flush. And now we're going to use 2.3 by 6 screws to hold it in place. There we go. Look at that. And now we have a thumb to go with it. That is actually really, really cool. I like that a lot. I do kind of wish there was more of a pivot here now that I'm looking at it, to be able to pull the thumb out a little more. But we can go like that. So it's not perfect, but still quite nice for the hand. I bet we can make a pretty good fist with this thing. Step 3 here is very, very simple. Just a part 29 here. And it's going to go in this orientation. You see there's more of a gap that's going to be facing up when it's like this. There are pins to hold it in place, just like that. And another 2.3 by 6 screw through the hole to hold it in place. And we can move on to step 4. Alright, here we are with the parts for step 4. We got part 51 and part 32. Part 32 has a flush side on this large hole and one with a indentation. Part 51 is keyed. There are flat ends. You want to take the flush side and the one that's got a nut, and you're just going to shove it in like this and just push it in all the way. I think it's gonna, yep, look just like that. So you've got this metal bit sticking out here, but it is flush right there. And we can move on to step 5. All right, with step 5 here, we've got 2 new parts, 24 and 25. They're easy to tell apart. 24 has a slot, 25 has a round hole. And they're gonna go onto the previously assembled part like this. Boom, just like that. And then we're gonna line it up so that these slots here and here line up with these 2 center posts here on the back of the hand. Boom, just like that, nice and neat. And then we're gonna use 2 more of the 2.3 by 6 screws to hold it in place. And there you go. Look at that. Really nice there. All right, step 6 here is nice and easy. We've got part 27 here. And if you look on the inside, there are 4 posts right there. And what do you know? 4 post holes right there. And yes, sadly, they have to be glued into place. So I will do that, and when it dries, I'll be right back. And here we are, step 6 complete. And I believe that is the end of the hand. And I really like this slot here. I think that's gonna be there so he can hold a weapon or something. I know he comes with his gun and his axe, so that's actually really cool. But all in all, I mean, this hand looks amazing. This really looks awesome. I can't wait to see how the rest of this turns out. Well, let's move on to the next step. All right, here we are at step 7. We have another part 51. We got part 23 right here. And we've got part 20 and part 22, along with 2 of the 2x6 screws. We're gonna kick this off by taking part 51, and then there's a flat slot, there's a flat end, boom, just right in there. And then we're gonna take part 23 here. Now, this is interesting. There is a bit of a lip right here, and I'm looking, it is very difficult to tell. I believe the lip is supposed to face away from the hand. So we're gonna go ahead, put that in. All right, there we go. That's how it's supposed to be. Man, that was actually tougher to get in than I had thought it was gonna be. But with that in place, you can go like this, and we will take part 20 here. And if you take a look on the side of 20, you can see these gaps. There's a very large one that's going to go towards the top. So we will line it up just like so. Alright guys, sorry I had to take a little break there because I couldn't get this thing to fit properly. But here's what happened. I couldn't get the plastic piece to go down because the hole here was just a tad too small. So I ended up having to just shave away just a tiny little bit so that this could fit all the way in, so that when I slip this in, this bottom ring here on this actually fits underneath the ring on the wrist, and these holes here will line up. At least they look like they do. They certainly fit into the slots, and we can go ahead and screw them in. And with those in place, you can take part 22 here. It's got 2 posts on either side. I don't think it matters which direction. It looks even on both sides, and there's 2 little holes there at the top. So we're gonna slide this puppy in to those 2 holes, and it should look like this when you're done. And to finish off the assembly of the left hand, we're going to take part 21 here, has that same large gap right there. It's going to line up with this, and all of those posts and holes should all line up nice and neat. And now we've got 4 screw holes here, and we're going to use the 2.3x6 screws to fill them. And there you go, everybody. One left hand fully assembled and ready for deployment. Now we can move on to assembling the lower left arm. All right, here we are at step 1 for building the lower left arm. We've got parts 18 and 19 here, and it's pretty simple. 19 actually has the screw holes in it. 18 does not. They go together just like so, and then we screw them with 2.3x6 screws. Alright, there we go. And now we're going to take part 46. Now, I don't know about your kit, but my kit came with a separate part 46 because the one that comes in the packaging is apparently inadequate. So we've got the new one here. And it's nice and simple. Just slide it around like that. Boom. All done. And that is step 1. And for step 2, just as simple, we've got part 13 here. You got 4 screw posts. You got 4 screw holes on the edges here. Line them up just like so. Should slide in, there you go, all the way. And then the 2.3x6 screws in all 4 posts to hold it in place. There you go. Step 2 is complete. All right, here we are with parts for step 3. And we've brought out the shoulder from the previous pack. We've also got parts 10, 11, and 17. You can tell 11's got the screw holes in it. 10 does not. And basically what we're going to be doing is attaching it to this little bit right here. Now if you take a look on the inside, it's going to go like this. And we've got part 17 that's going to slide in. There's a bit of a slot. There's a tab here. It'll slide in. Boom. So you got a little bit of extension ability here. And near as I can tell, this post here is going to go into that hole. Just like that. And then same thing on the reverse. in there. Boom. So it's all together, just like this. And we can use the 2.3 by 6 screws here and here to hold it in place. All right. Look at that. We got some motion, we got a little extensibility. Things are looking up. And to prep for step 4, you want to have it in this configuration. All right, this next bit's going to be interesting. We've got part 12, or excuse me, this is 9, part 9, and this is 12, and 2 more of the 2.3 by 6 screws. What's going to happen here is you've got 2 holes here and 2 posts here and here. Those posts are going to go up in like this. There we go. And now what we've got to do is get some screws in there. So let me give this a shot. All right, there we go. That actually went in a lot easier than I anticipated. And then we just take 12. It's got 2 little posts there. They're going to go into these 2 holes here. And supposedly that's done. Now this does not say anything about gluing this piece in. However, as you can see, it's quite loose and liable to fall out. I have a feeling that this will need to be glued in. We shall see as time goes on. Okay, here are the parts we need for steps 5 and 6. 5 just takes this piece, which is piece 16, and that's just going to pop in here. You can see there's 2 little slots in there, and there are 2 clips here. Make sure the yellow is facing down, and you just kind of pop it in if you can. And there you go. And this thing did fall out again. I really think I'm going to end up having to glue that. God, I hope not. But with that together, we can go on to 16. Now we have parts 3 and 4. 3 has these hex holes here. There's another one up there. And 4 does not. Also going to need this piece that we've already assembled. And it looks like, based on the product image here, you're going to want these screws to be on either side of the arm. So not front and back, but left and right of the arm. And we're going to take part 4 here. This is actually going to go right in there, just like that. And this should fit in here, like so. Could be wrong, but I think this is going to slide down over, but maybe not yet. And then this, again, big hole, goes right in there, and we hold it all in place, just like so. Seems to be good. Seems to be good. All right, now we're gonna take, we got 3 of these 3x12 bolts. We got some washers that'll go on the bolts, and then the nuts will go on the other side. So, like this, we got 1, 2, 3 places for them to go. All right, and with all of those in, got a little bit of rotation here. Man, that is tough to turn though. And then, of course, Some rotation here. Again, tough to turn, but it does work. This certainly seems wide enough to cover this right here. So I'm guessing it absolutely goes in there. Not 100% sure though. Certainly seems to. We'll find out, I guess, as we go along. And that completes step 6, so on to step 7. Alright, step 7 is fairly easy. We've got part 2 and 4 of the 2.5, 2 by 5.5 screws. These are PWMs, the silver ones. And if you take a look at part 2 here, it's got this little protrusion on one corner. And looking at it, it looks like that is going to go towards the front on the outside, so the front left. Much like this. You got 4 posts, you got 4 screw holes that just kind of marry together, and the screws go in the screw holes. And there you go. Part 7, or said step 7, is complete. Looking good. All right, and with that glued in place, it's holding pretty good now. I'm sure the glue will dry just fine. You can see we've got some screw bases here. We've got this higher level one and 2 lower ones. The lower ones on either side are what we're looking for, and they are going to go into these bases here, just like so. Oh man, I am definitely going to have to glue this. This is just not staying. And we're going to use the 2 by 5.5 screws to hold it in place, 4 of them. All right, look at that. That looks awesome. All right, let's see what comes up next. All right, before we continue on with step 10, I want to do a little correction here. This little piece right here, there's actually a slot in these braces for this to go in. So I had to do a lot of disassembly here, take this all apart, get it back in, and then put it all back together so that it is correct. Don't be like me. Don't be done. Go ahead and put that in before you start assembling all of this, because taking that apart was not particularly fun. But now that it's in, we can move on. Step 10 here has part 8, and that is just gonna slot in right here, just like that. And you can see it's got 2 holes there that match up with some posts down there. So we will be using, and this is part 11, step 11, 2.3 by 6 screws to hold it in place. All right, and there it is. All right, steps 12 and 13 are pretty much the same for the other side. We'll be using part 7 here, and we will simply slide that in. Now, if you take a look, right in there, there's a little hole, and there's another base, screw base there. For some reason, they didn't seem to have a screw for that, for the last set of steps, but if you take a look, there actually is a screw base way down in there. So maybe I'll put one in there too. Regardless, this will go in, and there's a little hole here and a little post right there. Make sure that those line up and slot together. And we've got our 2.3x6 screws going here, and down in there is a 2x5.5. All right, there you go. By the way, the instructions actually do clearly specify one of those 2x5.5 screws going in there. I just completely missed it. It's about 1:30 in the morning, and I just did all the disassembly. I guess I'm just missing things here, so I'm going to be a little more careful, but we are very, very close to finishing here, and that is the end of step 13. All right, here at step 14, we need parts 5 and 6, and these puppies are just going to plop right in here. You can see there's 3 posts, and there are 3 holes. Yes, we're supposed to glue them in. So let me go ahead and do that. We'll let the glue dry, and I will come right back to you. And here we are with the final stage of this arm. It is fully complete, and my God, is it wonderful! Oh my God, look at this thing. With everything together, you can actually see we've got some rotation right here. Okay, it'll actually bend in 2 joints at the elbow, so we can get this wonderful mobility here. And of course, when we straighten it out, this will actually slide in. You can see as we pull it out, the piston itself will become visible after too much. That's great. The wrist can twist as well. And we've already covered the posability on the fingers. I mean, this is an awesome arm. This is wonderful. I can't wait to see what this looks like when the piece is completed. But that is all we have for today. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.